Welcome to the latest edition of the Concord Township Trustees Fireside Chat. This is the Fall 2018 Fireside Chat. I'm Chris Galloway, Chairman of the Concord Township Board of Trustees. To my left, your right, is Trustee Connie Luda, and to my right, Trustee Paul Malcheski. We're going to be giving you an update today on things that are happening around the township. And as always, you can go to our website at www.concordtwp.com for more information on anything that we discuss here on this episode of Fireside Chat. First, I'd like to just talk about some of the recreational things that we have coming up. And starting for the next spring, we will be adding a second baseball field / softball field over at Town Hall campus, and that is currently under construction. So the next time you're by Town Hall, stop by and take a look at that. That's an exciting development that we will be able to accommodate more of our community boys and girls in terms of a playing surface for those softball and baseball teams that we do have here in Concord Township. Because it is fall, that means leaves are falling. Paul, why don't you tell everybody about how we're going to handle that?
Well, we'll have a township-wide leaf pickup. That will be the last week of November. So again, the last week of November, we will be picking up leaves. If for some reason there is a delay in that, or we have that word snow, prior to that, we will contact you through Twitter, Facebook, our social media sites.
And if it does snow, Connie, what's a way they can go ahead and help protect their mailbox?
Oh, we have a snow shield program, and you can call the service department, and for $37 they will put up a shield to protect your mailbox from the snow plows. And
that information is available on the website. There is an application, and submit that information and a fee, and the service department will take care of it for you. Highly recommended. And that is also good for anyone who lives on county roads as well.
Right. You can probably see quite a few of them in the township because many people have already done that.
Yes. There's, as always, a lot going on in Concord Township. Undoubtedly, you've noticed a lot of new businesses opening up and sprouting up along our business corridor in Cryle and 44. Recently opened businesses include Subway, Cleveland Yoga, Chipotle, and also a reminder that Discount Drug Mart is open and available for all your drug needs and various other sundries.
That's our south anchor of Cryle Road is Drug Mart, and seems to be always packed.
There's even groceries in.
That's right. That's right. And as the store manager, Dave Thomas, who's a Concord resident, will tell you, I find myself in there quite frequently. So I'm certainly guilty of using the Drug Mart, and we're thrilled you're here.
There's a new sign that popped up next door to Drug Mart, though.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Peace, Love, and Donuts.
That's right.
So they will be coming soon.
And you may be, this episode will be playing in October and November and into December, so by the time you see this, it may be already open. So.
Right.
In addition, on Cryle, there is a Holiday Inn Express under construction. In addition, there is a Home 2 Suites that has a part of the Hilton family that will be also beginning construction across the cul-de-sac there on Gold Court next to the Holiday Inn Express. On the end of Gold Court, you'll notice there's currently under construction a Verizon store, as well as, just from a point of information, Cryle Hardware is building a new facility south on Cryle at Cryle Motorsports. So they will be moving and then opening that parcel up for future development opportunities. As we continue to move forward as a community and grow, Concord is now at about 20,000 residents. That makes us the largest township in this part of Northeast Ohio. Something that we as a Board of Trustees had been looking at for a number of years was something called limited home rule government, and it's a classification that's available to townships to designate and to adopt under the Ohio Revised Code.
Larger townships.
Larger townships, that's correct. You have to be of a certain size, which Concord, of course, meets that criteria. Something that we had been looking at, and it will hopefully give us a little bit more teeth on zoning matters, potentially things like property code, in the future maybe building codes and road standards. And the legislature is always giving new authorities to townships that are limited home rule. Some questions that I had and I saw sort of on social media as we were having the public hearings on adopting that. No, it does not in any way affect our township status. Some people suggested, oh, it's a way that they're going to become a city. No, actually it does just the opposite of that. It solidifies our status as a township more so than ever wanting to become a city. And I know, as we've discussed many times, there's no advantages to Concord Township becoming a city.
No.
So that is something that we recently adopted and went into effect at the very end of September. And we will be, and it doesn't affect anything in the immediacy. As we go through our biannual strategic planning processes, the next one being in January, as a board and with our administrative staff, we'll sit down and start looking at targeting from a strategery, if you want to quote George W. Bush, standpoint. We'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at that in terms of how we might be able to implement some of that authorities under limited home rule in the future in Concord. So if people have questions, they can always call any one of us. You can email us at trustees@concordtwp.com. My suspicion is that the vast majority of residents will never notice that from a practical daily governance type standpoint.
The unique thing is that when something is going to be adopted under limited home rule, we'll have 3 readings. And so you'll have multiple meetings that you could attend to address whatever issues you may have on that piece of legislation. I really don't see a lot of those going on, but I think probably most importantly is that as you start to have these large urban townships, which you're a part of down at Columbus, you're going to see greater and greater authority given to the townships, and so we want to make sure that we have that tool in our toolbox to use. So.
I mean, locally in Northeast Ohio, the only township that I'm aware of that's adopted it, most of the adoptions of it have been in Southwest Ohio, where they have some very large townships, upwards of 60,000 people. Boardman Township in Trumbull County adopted it about 15 years ago, and in that time, they've only passed 8 different resolutions under that home rule authority. So it's not a broad and expansive set of authorities for townships, but it does give, as Paul mentioned, some additional tools. In addition, no township that's ever adopted it within Ohio has ever reversed that decision. So we think it'll be beneficial to Concord as we continue to deal with the pressures of a growing community and to make sure that Concord remains a premier place to live and to work in Northeast Ohio. So there's information on our website about that, and as always, you can call or email us.
And I've had a few people call me at different times, and I'd say, we can't do whatever they wanted done, but under limited home rule, we may be able to help.
That's correct. That's correct. One of the things that we have to deal with as a growing community, well, any community really, is the issue of safety services. And Concord Township, as most of you know, has 2 fire stations in the community, Station 1 and 2. Station 1 is next to Town Hall on Concord Hamden Road, otherwise known as Route 608. And Station 2 is on Prouty Road over by Johnny Cake. And both of those stations are in less than ideal condition. I know Station 1 was constructed now, I believe it was 61 years ago. It's about that. And so we began the process about 4 years ago of looking at the redevelopment of those fire stations and building new fire stations so that we have the most up-to-date facilities for our fire department. And we've been through a very long process on that Paul will talk to you about.
Well, I think initially we started out on just fire station locations and the ability for the apparatuses to get to the scene timely. And so we continue to always review those items. And I participated on behalf of Concord Township in a countywide study. We've done our own individual studies. Additionally, we looked at what our fire stations require that don't exist at this time. Part of that is safety for our firefighters, or continued safety for our firefighters as they get back and they unload their gear, that they're not continuing to breathe in those fumes that they just recently contracted. Additionally, our stations don't hold what we used to need to hold. Now we have more apparatuses, more equipment, more individuals, because we are a growing community. And so we looked at what is necessary. We've been moving at a very slow, methodical pace. We'll continue to move at a slow, methodical pace. We did have, probably some years ago now, almost 10 years ago, we did purchase some property right next to Fire Station 2 as a need for necessary expansion someday. We did purchase some property next to Fire Station 1, also for the same reason. Additionally, we've recently sent out specs or requirements for vendors for architecture, and we were working on a contract with them. Again, this is just to start mapping out what was necessary, what we would think that we would want inside those fire stations. We want to make sure that we do it as cost effective and strategic as possible. So we'll continue to move through that process. Again, it will be slow. We're making sure that we have everything that we need to have in there, and we have things in there that make sure we have things that are not there. Additionally, we've had a lot of communities around Concord Township build new fire stations. Some have done so with great success. Some have done so not with such great success. And so we're going to make sure that we learn from their mistakes, capitalize on their achievements there, and then hopefully build some fire stations later on down the road.
I think it's important to highlight what Paul said about slow and methodical. When we started this process, it was first about need, and we hired the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association to assist us with that study. And then it was studying where the stations needed to be strategically, both from an ideal world situation and okay, there's also homes and buildings, and then there's the real world situation, and then you sort of create this matrix and you determine where those stations should be. Right now it would appear that stations 1 and 2 will probably be just new construction at their existing sites, with the possibility of a third station in the future somewhere in the Auburn Road corridor that would help with response times in the commercial district as well as the southwest quadrant of the township. So, as Paul mentioned, we're in the process of hiring an architect after an RFP and an RFQ process. And
these are long-term strategic planning goals.
Yes.
And we've been through these things before. We've talked about long-term strategic planning goals, which means that they don't happen overnight. They don't happen 1 year or 2 years. So, but we will gradually take on those items.
And from our perspective, new fire stations is like the previous fire stations, is a 60-year decision, or a 60-year development, if you will. And so that's why we are moving slowly, and we want to make sure that we get it right for the community, because as trustees, it is the biggest thing that we will do in our time as trustees, however long that may be. So as we move through that process, if anybody has questions on that, you of course can call us. Our cell phones are on the website, as well as our email addresses. You can also email us all simultaneously at trustees@concordtwp.com. So as always, feel free to reach out to us. And because it is fall, and you'll be viewing this in fall. We're going to have Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we've got all kinds of things coming up during the viewership of this episode.
Those will all be at the regular dates.
Yes, they'll all be at the regular dates. But we do have a bunch of exciting fall events coming up that Connie's going to talk about.
We have a Candidates and Issues Forum on Wednesday, October 17th here at the Community Center, and it's at 1:30, and you'll be able to meet the local candidates and hear about the issues. So please come if you can possibly make it. Then the other thing we'll have is the Halloween Haunt at Grist Mill Village. This has been an annual event. This time it's on Thursday, October 25th at 6:30. Costumed kids and their families will begin the haunt at First Federal of Lakewood Bank, and they'll get a goodie bag there and some treats, and then they can go trick-or-treating all the way through Grist Mill Village. The shops are all going to be ready for them to come and trick-or-treat. And then community door-to-door trick-or-treating will be on Halloween itself, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. So residents, get ready for knocks at your door.
That's right. And for the first time this year, we will be doing a Concord Township Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and that will be at the gazebo at Concord Town Hall on Ravenna Road on November 30th at 7 p.m. So we hope there'll be more information that we'll put on TV and in the newsletter, but we're hoping that folks will come out for the very first Concord Township Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Should be a good time. I'm sure there'll be hot cider and other things available, hot chocolate. Maybe we'll get lucky, get a little bit of snow, just a little.
Christmas miracle.
That's right, that's right. So we're looking forward to that. And you know, as always, there are a number of contests that revolve around all these holidays. Paul, why don't we talk about those?
Okay, just a reminder too, there's also going to be letters to Santa with Mrs. Claus on Saturday, December 15th at 11 a.m. at the Old Stone Schoolhouse. Fall contest will be the Scarecrow contest, where you create your own scarecrow and enter it to win a prize. The 29th annual Concord Township photo contest will be taking place in the fall, and the 9th annual Light Up Concord House decorating contest. And those would be the holiday lights, Christmas lights, and that's our 9th annual. So we get ready for the 10th, so it's pretty exciting stuff.
As always, information on all those activities is available on concordtwp.com. As you can see, there's a lot going on in Concord Township, as there always is, because it's such a fantastic place to live, and we love it so much. We hope you do too. This has been another edition of the Trustees Fireside Chat Fall 2018. We look forward to seeing you around town. Take care.
Thank you.